Front and Center.
Front and center.
A focus on important and significant developments affecting the lives of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also those living and working around the world. Join us in Front and Center.
Front and center.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Good day, welcome to Front and Center, where we focus on developments in the Philippines, legislation that provides policies and directions that strives to promote a better economy for the country, issues that concern the welfare and well-being of every Filipino. All of these and more will be Front and Center. You can watch this program live on our Facebook page, that's Radyo Pilipinas World Service. And you can also hear us live on audio streaming at Evox PBS Receiver app. So join us for another edition of Front and Center with your host, Jerome Toledo.
Front and Center.
Front and center.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Okay, sorry about that technical difficulties. Anyway, so the Embassy of the Philippines in the Kingdom of Jordan, led by Ambassador Wilfredo Santos, facilitated the border crossing of 21 stranded Philippine government officials amid the escalation of the Israel-Iran conflict. Ambassador Santos met the group at the King Hussein border, where they were issued transit visas. The coordinated effort was made possible through close collaboration between the Philippine embassies in Tel Aviv and Amman. That's according to the embassy news release late Wednesday evening. The Philippine embassy in Tel Aviv in Israel coordinated with its counterpart in Jordan and made necessary representations with the Israeli government. In Amman, the embassy made formal representations to Jordan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates and the Jordanian Border Security to secure entry clearance for the officials. Second Secretary and Consul Angeli Payumo, Third Secretary and Vice Consul Sheila Marie Andales, as well as Administrative Officer John Danilo Jiao Jr. and Assistants to Nationals ATN Head Charis Malabanan assisted Ambassador Santos. The embassy in Jordan is also expected to receive in the next few days the first group of Filipino workers exiting Israel through Jordan. They will then be repatriated as per the instruction of Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and the Department of Foreign Affairs. Filipinos, meanwhile, in the West Bank who may need assistance may contact the embassy through ATN or Assistance to National Hotline. So listen to this. That's plus 962 77907 7778 plus 962 77907 7775 plus 962 77798 8818 plus 962 77721 9000 and plus 962 6590 1730. Meanwhile, the Department of Foreign Affairs is planning to raise the alert levels in Iran and Israel as escalating conflict between the two nations entered its sixth day on Wednesday. And once a decision is out, DFA Undersecretary Eduardo Jose de Vega said the agency may temporarily raise the alert level in Israel from alert level 2, that's the restriction phase, to alert level 3, which is the voluntary repatriation phase. The plan for Iran, currently under alert level 1, meanwhile, is to elevate the warning to voluntary repatriation phase. Undersecretary De Vega also disclosed plans to pull out non-essential personnel at the Philippine Embassy in Tehran. On Monday, President Donald Trump issued an ominous message on his social media account saying Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, quote unquote, and that everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. De Vega said there are less than 20 personnel and officials manning the Philippine embassy in Iran, including Ambassador Roberto Manalo, who is expected to stay behind. And some 14 Filipinos requesting repatriation will join the embassy staff should the evacuation plan push through, possibly via land crossing to neighboring Turkmenistan, which has an estimated travel time of 13 hours. Ambassador Manalo earlier said no Filipino has been hurt or killed in the continuous Israeli airstrikes against Iran, but security situation in Tehran remains tense. And some 150 Filipinos in Israel have previously signified their intention to leave the Jewish state as soon as possible. And at least 21 Filipino national and local government officials who are part of an Israeli government-sponsored study are also stuck in Israel as airspace remains closed. Of the 21, 9 are mayors, 4 are vice mayors, 2 are party list representatives, 2 are regional directors, and 4 are from the Department of Agriculture. And the Israeli International Aid Agency Mashav earlier said they will cross Jordan and take their flight back to the Philippines from there.
Front and center.
Front and center.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
And when we come back, we will discuss about the developments in the Commission on Elections as the poll body cancels the registration of the number 2 in the recent midterm election, which is the Duterte Youth Party List. So, what's the implication of that cancellation of registration to the party list itself? So we will try to get Comelec on this, and Front and Center will be right back after these messages.
Sa kanyang ika-164 na kaarawan, ang kanyang kabayanihan ay buhay na buhay pa rin sa ating puso at isipan. Tunay na ehemplo ng katapangan, kagitingan at pagiging makabayan. Sa ating pambansang bayani, Gat Jose Rizal, maligayang kaarawan. Paggunita mula sa Presidential Broadcast Service at Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko, 738. Kasabay ng pagdiriwang ng anibersaryo ng kasarinlan ng Pilipinas, binigyan diin ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. na ang kanyang pamahalaan ay nagsisikap na tugunan ang bawat pangangailangan ng mamamayan upang mas madama ang tunay na kalayaan.
Sa bagong Pilipinas, hindi kasalanan ang pagbibigay ng opinyon at lalong hindi mali ang kritisismo, bagkus ito ang nagbibigay buhay at kinang sa ating demokrasya. Ang totoong kalaban ng kalayaan ay ang pagiging manhid. Manhid sa hinain ng taong bayan, manhid sa kalagayan ng ating kapwa, manhid sa kapakanan ng ating bansa.
Nag-iwan naman ng hamon ang Pangulo para maiwasan ang pagsasamantala sa ating kalayaan.
Ang mga kasinungalingan walang hangganan, mga balitang walang katotohanan at maling impormasyon, ito ang mga salot sa ating kalayaan. Maging mapanuri tayo lagi. Alamin natin ang totoo. Labanan ang mga kasinungalingan. Piliin natin maging tapat kahit walang nakakakita. Piliin natin na manindigan, lalo na kung may nagkakamali. Piliin natin ang pagkakaisa sa gitna ng pagkakaiba.
Para sa iba pang mga balita at impormasyon, manatiling nakatuto. Tapat sa pag-uulat. Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko, 738.
Front and center.
Front and center.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Welcome back to Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service with me, Jerome Toledo. The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC 2nd Division, granted a petition to cancel the party list registration of the duty to energize the Republic through the enlightenment of the Youth Sectoral Party List Organization, also known as the Duterte Youth, for being void ab initio, or void from the beginning by a vote of 2-1 of the said division. The poll body released the decision due to the Duterte Youth's failure to comply with publication and hearing processes, which are required under the 1987 Constitution and the Party List System Act. And to give us more details on this issue, we now have on the line the spokesperson of the Commission on Elections, that's Director John Rex Laugianco. Good morning, Director Laugianco. Thank you for joining
Good
us.
morning. Good morning, Sir Jerome, and to all the viewers of Radio Pilipinas World Service Front and Center.
Thank you. For the benefit of our viewers, Director Rex, here and abroad, where does the decision to cancel the registration of the Dirty Youth came from?
It's because the second COMELEC second division found out, based on the records and the evidence adduced, that the said party list group failed to comply with the jurisdictional requirement of registering as a party list group, and that is the publication of their petition, their manifestation of intent to participate with the party list elections, and the list of their nominees and their officers. And because of this, COMELEC failed to acquire jurisdiction and their registration is also cancelled. There's also a second reason why their existing registration is cancelled, Sir Jerome. It's because of the findings of the second division that they had violated several provisions of Republic Act 7941, wherein they had advocated for violence in the pursuit of their goals, and they have been found to be an adjunct of a government agency, which is prohibited under existing laws.
Okay, so meaning to say they went out of their way, outside of their cause as a party list.
That is correct. And based on their Facebook posts, they had several posts referring, inciting to violence and referring to other groups that they will eliminate them or for whatever. And these are against the enshrined principles of the registration of a party list group. And aside from that, they had in their petition, it is evident that they are an adjunct of the National Youth Commission, because when they filed their petition, they had mentioned the position of their nominee as the assistant secretary and chairman of the National Youth Commission.
I see. Okay, and that also, as I read here, from a 2019 case by 4 youth leaders that challenging the Duterte Youth's registration due to quote and unquote overage qualification.
That is correct. Despite the fact that the Dirty Youth was able to participate in 2 elections, the second division had stressed that the power of the commission to revoke the registration and to continue reviewing its qualifications existed, because a registration in the party list system is like a grant of franchise, wherein the COMELEC has the power to revoke if there is a question on their registration. On this point, it appears that while the disqualification stems from the age of the first nominee, however, it is the party list group which had nominated said nominee, and therefore it appears that, and the second division is of the opinion that the party list group had intentionally sanctioned and misrepresented their nomination, and in signifying that said nominee is qualified for the position, while in truth and in fact he is not, for being overage.
I see. Okay, but of course, given that this decision came out few weeks or few days before the 20th Congress starts, critics will say, primarily the Duterte Youth party list itself, will say why now? Because they won 3 seats already, and 20th Congress is about to start, and that stems from the 2019 case filed in COMELEC. So also they advocate interests of the youth sector. What can the COMELEC through you say about this?
But first, the question is why now? This is the most opportune time to decide the case. Nobody is questioning, and it is of record, that the case is really pending since 2019. It hasn't been resolved, and it is hanging. It is a hanging issue, and therefore COMELEC took the opportunity to finally resolve this, so that in order to give the 30th party list a proper recourse, if they want to go to the Supreme Court, or if they want first to go to the Commission and Bank via motion for reconsideration, they could do so, and after that, if they want, they could proceed to the Supreme Court if they so wish. This is the most opportune time to decide, and these things cannot go on unresolved. And also, while the sector is representing the youth and young professionals, the law is clear as to the age, and that is why COMELEC had disqualified in 2019 their first nominee, and he was replaced by a person who is qualified by reason of age. But at any rate, this decision remains to be. While it is final, it has yet to attain the state of being final and executory. As I've said, Duterte Youth has the opportunity to go to the Commission and Bank via motion for reconsideration, and after that, if they so wish, they could still proceed to the Supreme Court.
I see. And having said that, they can file for reconsideration through your unbank, yeah, through unbank of the COMELEC. So they can be allowed to, I mean, to be represent the Congress, or they will
No,
be
as
allowed
of
to hold
now,
positions.
no, as of now, the 30 Youth Party List has yet to be proclaimed. It can be remembered, Sir Jerome, that the COMELEC had suspended their
Yeah.
proclamation, and therefore, at this time, they had yet to be proclaimed, and not having been proclaimed, they cannot take their oath of office, and they cannot assume their position in Congress until and such time that this issue is resolved.
Okay, and that issue will be resolved as soon as possible because 20th Congress is about to start.
That is correct. If they deemed and they wish to file a motion for consideration, the Commission and Bank had committed to resolve it as soon as possible so as not to delay anymore this issue. And of course, this will give the Duterte Youth Party List an opportunity to seek recourse to the Supreme Court if they want to do so.
Okay, got it. Okay, so given that this decision is already been published, so this is going to be the cornerstone of the in case or in the future that that the similar situation that the COMELEC will face in the next election.
That is correct. This is a learning lesson for everyone, and based on COMELEC records, it is only Duterte Youth which had attained the status of being a registered party list without having undergone the jurisdictional requirement of publication. And that is why this has to be remembered by any group which intends to join in the party list organization. If they are intending to register as a party list organization, a sectoral organization, or a political party or coalition of political party participating in the party list system, they have to remember that the publication of their petition, their manifestation of intent, and their list of officers and nominees is a jurisdictional requirement which must be complied. And COMELEC need not remind them or order them because this is a requirement, a jurisdictional requirement in the first place, and need to be complied by all those intending to register.
Okay, so that will be a precedence or jurisprudence in the future, in the near future. Should, for example, another organization claiming to be the youth sector while they're not, so they the COMELEC will use this this issue to apply that decision in the near future.
That is correct, because this is a requirement of the law and this is a requirement of the rules of procedure in registering as a party list group.
Okay, got it. Okay, so jumping to another issue, Director Laujanko. So, BARM election will happen in October. So, how is the poll body preparing for this?
Preparations are underway, and based on our compliance and based on the provisions of Republic Act 12-123, which had reset the BARM parliamentary elections from May to October 13, this is a continuation of the said national and local elections. And therefore, we are now in preparing to use the same automated counting machines, the same system, the same program, and the same consolidation and canvassing system, as well as the transmission facilities. And we are configuring the software as well as the preparing the ballot phase, because as you all know, it is required under the Bangsamoro Electoral Code that the logo of the regional political parties as well as the pictures of the candidates for the district representatives must be included in the ballot. So this is a major change that COMELEC is preparing for. We have to reconfigure, we have to recalibrate and reprogram the software of the automated counting machine to include such features in the official ballots.
I see. And what concerns me regarding this BARM election are two things. Number one is the connectivity issue. Second is security issue. As for connectivity issue, as we know, Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, there are many areas that are somewhat remote or doesn't have a stable internet connection. So how can the Comelec address this?
This problem has been resolved through the use of satellite communication, particularly the Starlink communication devices. And we are intending to use the same because it has been proven effective during the last elections, especially in the BARM and in the other areas where they are considered as GIDA sites or geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas. So the solution really is Starlink devices. And as to the security, we're also taking this opportunity we're taking this opportunity to prepare more for the security. We are now in talks with the AFP, the PNP, and the Philippine Coast Guard, ensuring the security of the whole elections, and perhaps also preparing to use policemen and Philippine Coast Guardsmen as members of the Special Electoral Board in case there are duly constituted electoral boards we choose to withdraw from their obligations based on security. So we are preparing also for that.
Okay. And do you foresee any election-related violence in that particular region, Director?
Of course, the threat of election-related incidents and violence is there. And as we had seen based on records also, the highest number of recorded incidents are in Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. So in order to respond to this, we will be deploying more troops, more policemen, and ensuring that the voters will be able to go out of their homes, vote freely, and return to those homes peaceably. So this is the overall goal of the Commission on Elections in conducting the Bangsamoro elections.
Okay, very well said. And with that, thank you, Director John Rex Laujanco, the spokesperson of the Commission on Election, for joining us in the program. Thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you very much, and mabuhay.
And you just heard the spokesperson of the Commission on Election, that's Director John Rex Laujanco.
Front and center.
Front and center.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Okay. And with that, we conclude this edition of Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Together with our production team and technical personnel, this is your host, Jerome Toledo. Until next time, mabuhay, love the Philippines.
You have just heard and watched
Front and center.
Front and Center. Join us again for another edition here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Front and Center.